harkens to another natural law, the law of four, doesn't it? Which is
Yes.
Appears in the seasons, but we all have them, and it's a very important one to do with relationships, because the person you meet on a Monday, if you think of a Ferris wheel turning, you get on a Ferris wheel, you get up to the top, you got an amazing view, it's wonderful, then it comes down to the bottom, and you don't see so much, right? There's the guy operating the thing and a few people waiting in the queue. There's not much to see at that level. Then it goes up again. And we, on the planet, because of this law of four, it appears in everything. There was a whole study in the 70s, I think it was particularly in the 70s, came quite popular, biorhythms. But this does go on, and at all our levels, mental, emotional, physical well-being, spiritual well-being. So the person you meet on a Monday, 2 days later, they may be down, the Ferris wheel may have turned, and they're just not as bright. They're not feeling, and you come in expecting the person to meet the person as they were on the Monday, but now it's Wednesday and they're just not there. And just knowing that about oneself as well, because we can expect of ourselves a brightness that we had 2 days ago and it's just gone. And it's not a good idea to conclude things at the top or at the bottom. In fact, anywhere along the route, it's a good idea not to conclude, because it's a moving diagram. But just to be aware of, this is the phase it's in, just to note it as things move on, and deal with things as they are at that particular moment. So if it's winter, you do winter things. If a person's in a quiet phase, you synchronize and adjust your expectations and harmonies to that particular state. Because we're kind of sold in the world this idea that it's always positive, it's always summer, it's always spring. But a lot of people have an autumn nature. A lot of people have a winter nature, quite introverted, thoughtful.
Yes.
So besides the moving diagram, there people fall generally into one of the seasons. So again, that's trail 3, detecting.
Right.
Because if you're dealing with an autumn person and you come in all spring, autumn people tend to pull back from spring people. They might like them for a little time, but too much of it can seem unreal. It seems false and things like this for an autumn person or a winter person. It's really fascinating.
And that's the thing, isn't it? A few years ago, there was this trend where you go to a special fashion person and they would try all these different colours of outfits and scarves and all the rest of it to see whether you were a winter, summer, spring or autumn person. And then,
really?
Yeah, and then you could coordinate your wardrobe accordingly. But of course, the next level of that would be to see, in a person's essence or in their electrics and their nature, which they're predominantly natured towards in those 4 seasons. And it doesn't mean you're permanently a winter, but it's a certain flavour and a disposition, certainly. I remember even as a child, my brothers would be out there whacking cricket balls and bouncing basketballs against the side of the house and all the rest of it. I'd really prefer to be inside drawing or painting or reading. That's more of a wintry type of thing as compared to a summer kind of nature. And and even with children and watching them grow up, it's important to be aware of that and the kind of activities you organise for them. Because if you've got a child who's more of a winter child like that, natured, it's no use trying to make them go out and do heavy physical sports and rock climbing and skydiving and all the rest of it, because it's not going to fit well with them. So there's another really important energy flows and relationships is within the family, and particularly between parents and children, because the parents have the greatest influence on those young lives, because you're still building up your potency and power and discovering yourself. And I know we have 3 children, and my wife and I, that's always been the central consideration, is not what we want for them, but what actually naturally fits with their particular character and nature, and what are they naturally drawn towards, and to assist them in that. Because that's the other thing, if a person's not really connecting in the process of those energies which really naturally fit with them, they'll actually never be happy or settled.